Together we will defeat the rigged system and the corrupt media. There is nothing more corrupt than those people.
With 13 days to go until Election Day, is Donald Trump attacking the media an effective campaign strategy? Howard Kurtz, host of the Sunday show Media Buzz, is here. First of all, let's get to this question of whether the media bias, which always cuts against Republicans in nearly every cycle that we can remember, has been noticeably worse in this cycle, in your judgment.
By light years, Britt. I mean, I have never seen in modern political history such an unrelenting avalanche of negative coverage of one major party presidential candidate, and Trump plays against that, of course, all the time by bashing us. Now, I do have to hastily add that some of the problems that Trump have had, particularly in the last couple of months, have been self-inflicted.
Right.
And also that other...
Well, it gets to this question. Trump is behind in the race, as even his own campaign manager has acknowledged. The Real Clear Politics average shows that. Our poll, which shows some gains for him, shows that as well. So the question arises, is the predicament in which he finds himself, with these very high negatives, which she also has, Hillary Clinton also has, but though not as high as his, is the media coverage bad enough that it could be responsible for the situation he's in?
Not bad enough for me to say, well, the media are making him lose this race. Because, you know, every candidate, I mean, candidates going back to Ronald Reagan have managed to overcome a hostile press and win the White House. So I would say it hasn't helped him. And particularly lately, you have even some media critics defending the outsized attention that Trump gets and the overwhelming negativity of the attention that he gets by saying, well, Trump is a different candidate. He's so dangerous that we have to suspend the usual standards. Well, I don't buy that. That's not journalism. That's advocacy.
I agree with that. Now, so the question then arises, so we would agree then that the coverage has been remarkably, unprecedentedly, perhaps negative, that it probably doesn't account for his position in the polls. Then the question arises, is attacking the media, though it clearly is a crowd pleaser, is attacking the media an effective campaign strategy?
It was very effective for Donald Trump when he did it throughout the Republican primaries. Almost all of his base detests the media, and he played off that very effectively. At this point, I think anybody who can't stand the media, believes the media are biased, believes the media are unfair to their guy, is already voting for Donald Trump. So I don't think at this point it helps him expand his support in a way that he needs to close whatever the remaining gap is with Hillary Clinton.
You know, my recollection of covering the Reagan years and the Reagan campaign and later the first Bush White House was that the people who were advising them knew the coverage was not going to be even. And they kind of operated in such a way as to try to minimize the impact of that. And I don't remember Ronald Reagan ever really attacking the media in any concerted way, anything like the way Trump has. George H.W. Bush didn't either, to my recollection, but toward the end of his campaign in '92, bumper strips began to appear, and I saw them everywhere. They said, annoy the media, re-elect Bush.
Right.
Didn't seem to work.
Right. Well, look, it can be a very great deflection tactic. So you have 9 or 10 women who've made these accusations of sexual misconduct against Donald Trump. We don't know whether they're true or not. But of course that's a story that has to be covered and covered responsibly. Trump says, well, the press is just out to get me and they're not fact-checking and so forth. He goes to Gettysburg. He gives a speech, supposed to be a big policy speech. Then he includes a vow to sue these women after the election. That overshadows the policy speech.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay, now, scandal over substance. The press has been guilty about that for a long time.
Forever.
But again, Trump provided the catnip that enabled many news organizations to emphasize the tabloid aspect.
Yeah, I think that what we see with Mr. Trump is that he has a passionate reaction to these things. He wants to defend himself. And in politics, sometimes it's better just not to talk about the subject, you know. And
yeah, but he's not a conventional politician, and he seems not to have the discipline most of the time to do that. At the same time, I mean, look, how did he get this nomination? By giving hundreds and hundreds of interviews, and many of them hostile. So he has a great media mastery, having grown up in the New York tabloid market. But lately, it seems like he's just declared all-out war. And to be fair, many in the press have responded in kind in terms of covering Trump.
Yeah, they certainly have. Howard, thanks very much.
Good to see you, Rick.